You are using the app. What does that even mean? Hello, beautiful people. How are you? Okay, so we're here for episode 2 of Impactful People Live, the mentor series. I know I'm a little bit early, so I'll let people pop on. Today we have Gil Hedley, who is gilhedley.com is where you can find him. But he is an anatomist. Actually, I think he has like a doctorate in theology, but he does human dissections so that we can understand the human form. And he does them with the most respect that I've ever seen, which is what really called me to him. I'm going to put on my little headphones here. All right, let's see. There we go. Okay. Hi, so I'm just waiting for Gil to pop on. So until he does, I was telling you that about what Gil Hedley does. So he does human dissections, and he does it with a groundedness in respect for the human form that he's working on. And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen when it comes to dissections and dissecting a human form, rather than just like, you have a form and here's the arm. No, he names the form, and it's the most miraculous experience because you can really see from an anatomical perspective how connected everything is, and how we are nothing like what you see in an anatomy picture. That there are so many different variations, just like there are so many different variations in nature. So, okay, I'm gonna see what we've got going on here. Gil, let me know. Let's see if I can find him. So I've invited Gil. Hopefully he'll pop on here soon. So again, hi, there you are. Hi, Gil. So I think you just have to request to join, and then you'll come on. There should be a place. It's not showing a place to request to join. Go live. Let's see, try that. Thank you, everybody, for your patience here. Okay, it says you're unable to join. I don't know why. Let's so everybody just hang out. You'll be able to watch the replay, but let's figure this out. Gil, are you following my Pregnancy Pilates Impact? I don't know if that has anything to do with it. That might be. And no worries, or no stress here. We'll get it started when we can. So, okay, so I sent an invitation again. It'll get working. It always does. There we go. I knew it would start eventually.
I'm here.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. So good to see you. Do you remember me? I interviewed you a few years ago.
I recognize that beautiful face.
Oh, Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. So I emailed Rachel to see if she wanted to pop in here. Does she want to?
Filming in another studio at the moment.
She's filming in another studio. Okay. Okay. So thank you for taking the time. How much time do you have?
Oh, I'm good for a little while here.
Okay.
I'm just quietly located in my camper in Victoria, British Columbia at the moment.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about that right away then. The Nerve Tour.
Sure.
Yes. So 111 states. How many, or cities? How many have you done so far?
We've done a dozen. So we got 99 to go.
Okay. Okay. So you're coming, I'm in Las Vegas. You're coming to Las Vegas. I think it's the 12th. It's a Tuesday.
Can't wait.
December. Yes. And I get to meet you in person. So of course I'll come meet you. But you are in British Columbia right now. Tell us a little bit about the Nerve Tour, what inspired it, and what inspired you to take this huge trip around.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I had been contemplating doing a detailed exploration of the nerve tissues for a long time. And after I finished my Anatomy from A to Z project, which was 17 months in the lab with 2 bodies, studying them on camera, I filmed over 200 hours of footage that we turned into 21 courses and put up on the website. So at the end of that, I was like, oh gosh, I think I need to do more. I need to, that wasn't to do the nerve tissues more carefully. And so I conjured the Nerve Project, and I spent 5 months in the lab this year from January through May working on a particular beautiful donor form that I dissected in detail, extreme detail, to be able to demonstrate these tissues, which really take a long time to kind of parse out from the body, and also to demonstrate them in context in relationship to other tissues. So that was kind of my intention. And at the end of that, I knew I had a talk coming up in Oklahoma City for Eric Dalton, who was giving a conference and invited me to keynote that. So I knew I had a 3-hour slot in Oklahoma at the end of the project. And I thought, okay, well, I'm definitely going to talk about the Nerve Project that I just did. So I gave that talk. There were about 250 people there. I ended up going for like 3.5 hours, and they were thrilled. So I went to the back of the room and said to Rachel, maybe we could take this on the road, at which moment the Nerve Tour was conceived. And we both, being rather ambitious workaholics, thought, what's 111 cities? Well, what does that take? And so we've done little else since then. It's been an incredible project just to get the whole thing underway. Just booking 111 venues is an Herculean task. We're not even done finding venues yet, but we're already on the tour. That's just how it goes. We're booking. We're booked through, I don't know, March at this point or something,
Okay.
April, and then we just keep on booking, and so we're doing good with that. But and the talks are going great. Folks are showing up, and it's a really intense and uplifting 5-hour event that I take people through the brain, the autonomic nerve tissues, the musculoskeletal plexuses. Talk about the sympathetics and the parasympathetics and the enteric nerves and all that, and show them all. So it's very thorough, and it's not the kind of imagery you can find anywhere, not the kind of footage you can find anywhere. So it's one thing to learn about nerves in a book and see a line drawing. It's a whole other thing to see it dissected out carefully and discussed on our big screen. When we're at a big venue, we have a 14-foot wide, 8-foot tall screen. At smaller venues, I can do it with a 10-footer, but we have a couple screens with us. We have our own turnkey production setup, and we pile on and set it up, and
So those of you that are here live, why don't you pop in the city, and so it's United States and Canada, right?
U.S. and Canada, yeah, and pretty much if you live in the U.S. and Canada, we're going to get close to you. With apologies to Montana, North Dakota, and Alberta and Saskatchewan, those very northern places in the middle of the country in a camper in the winter times. We just couldn't get there. And in the summers, we had a million other places to go. So apologies to them. Maybe we'll fly out that way someday. But pretty much anywhere else, we're going to be within 2 hours of you, or an hour and 45 minutes, something like that.
I love that. That is just so much fun. Okay, so yeah, so if you're here and you're listening, pop in the where you are in, if you're in the United States or Canada, and let us know, and we'll let you know where the closest one is. So, okay, so I want to get into this quote that I got from you. It might have been, okay, so you have 2 books, which I have here. We have Reconceiving the Body and The Heart of Service. And you basically say that you're on a mission to brand the body as a gift,
yes,
rather than a problem. And so my audience, my mission in my life is educating Pilates teachers on how to compassionately teach pre and postnatal women. So with that, and well, I think with anybody, but with that comes body image, the conversation of body image. Now, you have a picture, and I'm going to get I'm going to need your approval if I'm allowed to show it. I have the Anatomy Trains book here that has, I think is it Margaret, where you have the fleet,
that's Venus Mary there.
Venus Mary, the adipose tissue.
Yeah.
Can I show that, or is that like a copyright thing? I don't know.
Well, here I am, so you can show it.
Okay. So this is everybody's like heads up. If you've never seen human dissections, once you start seeing them, you can see them as beautiful. But here it is. And what you see, so here's this is the fleece of the woman. And I have in the video where you are talking about this in your courses.
In the Integral Anatomy series.
Anatomy series. Okay. You say something so beautiful that how, and fill us in, but basically that we have such a negative viewpoint of adipose tissue or fat, and yet we have no idea that just may be, especially in a woman, their intuitive sense.
Yes, that tissue that you just showed a picture of, that amazing whole body fleece, belongs there. Just regardless of our culture's low fat, no fat virtue signaling from our milk bottles and our grocery store shelves, that tissue belongs there. It's integral to the functioning of the human body. It's a grand lymphatic organ. It's a grand endocrine organ. It's our comfort. It's our sensual interface with other human beings. It's a sensory organ, actually. I show in the nerve tour talks the innervation of this tissue. It's richly endowed with sensory return and an integral part of our metabolic functioning. It's an intelligence not to be trifled with, and also we like to hug it. In fact, we turn our heads on the street, checking each other out in that layer, right? So it has that component too, and I find that our dismissal of it and our abuse of it in our culture even represents a diminishment of a woman's body. It's a diminishment of every body. And so it's hard to appreciate something that's getting hated on so much in a given culture. And so what I've tried to do is illuminate that tissue and demonstrate how interesting it is, how compelling it is
Yeah.
in its physiology, its function, and its anatomy, how essential it is to movement even. In other words,
Yeah. I'll show it again.
it's a force conducting fabric through which waves of energy are constantly being distributed as we walk across the room. So its values I could go on for hours, but the idea that it's also, you know, as a sensory organ, it's feeling the room. In other words, we're palpating space with our bodies. It's part of our unconscious understanding of the world around us, and so we shut that down, we shut ourselves down. So I do of course recognize we can have pathologies there, as we can have them in any tissue in the body, but the fact that it's there is not pathology. And our culture has gone down this slippery slope of fat hatred to an extent that it's hard to even admit the virtues of the tissue in a culture that looks at any leaning towards it as some kind of pathology. So if we could depathologize that tissue, recognizing that us and the seals are pretty happy with it, it's part of our form. Mammals, from an anthropologist perspective, our human bodies are acknowledged as very particular in our species representation of the thickness of this layer underneath our skin, and it's just vital to our functioning. So, you know, people will say, "Oh, Gil, you're a skinny person advocating, you know, for fatty tissue." And it's like, yeah, I mean, I didn't ask the creator for my body. It was given to me, and everyone is given their bodies. And one thing about human bodies is that they're incredibly variable. And one thing we can say for sure is that none of us should look like that. In other words, you can't say that about the human body. We're if there's anything true about us, is that each one of us represents the human form uniquely, perfectly, and differently, and that we can see in the differences in our body a reflection of ourself. In other words, I can look at you and say, well, I don't look exactly like you. I've never seen anyone who did look like you. In fact, you're quite unique. And that's the mirror that we look into when we look into one another. The mirror is the mirror of uniqueness. And so if we can witness uniqueness in another and value the differences in shape and form and the bravery of people walking around and who have bodies that are more challenging than others. You know, some of us are challenged in our psyches or in the smallness of our hearts, and some of us are challenged in the shapes of our bodies that may not be readily welcomed in a given culture. So I look at people and say, wow, there's a lot of courage there. And the challenge of a given human form is different for each one of us. You can look like whatever, a supermodel, and have cluster headaches, you know what I'm saying, and be suicidal over them. So we can't assume anything about anyone else's bodily experience. You see someone who you're not attracted to, and it turns out they're having a pretty sexy life, and that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
so, and you might be all dried up. So that, right? In other words, that's the thing. We can't judge, and when we do, we're judging ourselves ultimately.
Okay, so when we talked last time, you corrected me, and it really clicked for me for the first time. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because we're conditioned as you know, Pilates teachers, dancers. We have been taught anatomy from the biomechanical perspective, looking at pictures, looking at individual pieces. And I have a fascination with nature. And I said, so we're like nature. And you said, no, we are nature. We are nature. I'm like, yeah, we are nature. And that's why we're not mechanical. There's a woman, Joanne Avison, I don't know if you're familiar with her work, but she came up with the term bioemotional beings, that instead there's nothing mechanical about us, which is why I'm in love with your work, and I call you my anatomy hero, because you really bring home the fact that we are nothing like the pictures.
Mm.
that, you know, it's people ask me sometimes, some of my students, like, where is the iliopsoas connected? Is it T, you know, this, or L that? And I'm like, I don't know, because because Gil Hedley will tell you that it's not always exactly on.
Well, you can get kind of close in on things. There's certain predictability in relationships within the body, but the given shapes are what's unpredictable. So, in other words, any given transverse process can be knobbly or smooth or bent down or bent up, bent forward, bent back, just as the way it's laid out. So there's incredible uniqueness in the particulars of the human form, although I can generally predict there's going to be several lumbar vertebrae in a given person's body, and that there's going to be this slab of meat called the psoas in relationship to it. And then we can drill down on the particulars of a given body. Maybe they have an extra lumbar vertebrae. Maybe they have a missing TP. Maybe one is stretched out longer than the others and makes it a little warped. But the thing, so there is predictability to an extent in the human form, and that's what enables me to teach, right? And also the variability is what enables me to constantly be surprised. So it's kind of a mix and match between those two. And I do look to nature as my mirror before I'll look to machines, indeed. And integral anatomy really, that's particular to integral anatomy, to look for the mirror of the human in the nature surrounding us, because it's a continuation of us. We are one with that. And also the fractal forms of nature resonate with our tissues. We have nerve trees and heart trees in our body that are sending energy into the environment, bumping into trees and going, I like that. Not many people hate trees. Even people who cut them down love to be around them and love to be in them. I know arborists who, like, they're kind of sad that they got to cut them down, but they love trees. So there's something about the repeating fractal forms of nature that literally resonates with the vibrations being emanating from our bodies, because they're continuous, and they're physiologically connected. You can't breathe out without a tree breathing in. You can't breathe out without you breathing in. That's just your lungs outside of what you think your body is. You think your body is this thing bordered by this skin that you see in a mirror, and yet you exist beyond it. Your consciousness can go beyond that. You can expand beyond that.
That is such a great point that I just figured out, that how we are connected through breath with nature.
Yeah. How about the sun? How about the sun and the moon? The moon is literally pulling on the tides within your body, just as if it can move the ocean, believe me, it can move your uterus. And the sun, that's sensed by the glands inside of your brain, and the whole human being of the planet is in a rhythm with the seasons and the vibrations invoked by the sun. That's the master gland of humans, right? In other words, why don't we say that's our body?
I don't know. I don't even know. I love history and trying to figure out where these ideals came from, right?
Yeah.
Especially the women who, it's just inevitable that pre and postnatal women, there's this term that I don't use anymore, which is bounce back. It's always about bouncing back after pregnancy. And I really try to have women focus on the freaking miracle that they just created. A baby just grew inside of them. It's a miracle. And yet the outside forces tell us, not outside, well, I guess it is a force. The people on the outside tell us through media that we need to hurry up and be, quote, skinny again.
Yeah, That's
when,
literally a mental illness provoked by the culture, and
yeah,
I would not buy that. In other words, a woman's body changes. Every body changes through time, through life experience, through our interactions with the environment, and certainly through producing babies. And a baby doesn't want to sleep on a wooden plank. It doesn't want to rest on a pile of bricks on your belly. It wants to
yeah,
rest on the soft mattress that you grow, because humans didn't always have posturepedics, or we were the bed. You are the bed for the baby, and nature accommodates, and makes us a yummy, soft boobs to squiggle up in, and tummy to rest on, and legs to squeeze, and butts to dodge as you go through the kitchen, because it's coming around, folks. It's coming around. And so this is this is not a bad thing. And so, but if you bounce back to
what?
what, to the gym, like it just how about you bounce into love with the child that came out of you, rather than stressing over what given squishy bit is squishing out at the moment, because they will, and there's love for that. And I do find that I've never seen kids complain about their mother's bodies. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And if you're and if you, but we do it to ourselves, and we do it because of the cultural modeling, as you mentioned. And all I can say is, instead of looking at the magazine, look at your kid and see that, and like you say, see that miracle. And as they hug on you and love your body, you love. Are we ever offended that a baby is pudgy? I mean, if it's
right.
not, it's scary. A skinny baby is terrifying, and so we have to make space for that flesh resonance with that baby, because that's partly what's going on there. You literally have the fleece of the baby and the fleece of the mother that are co-resonant, like two tuning forks. And when that baby cries,
I'll show this again while
you
you're
know,
talking.
yeah, when the baby cries in the middle of the night, that layer feels it. In other words, you respond through the vibrational field that is created between those two beings, and they're co-resonant through that layer, and you can't diminish that. And so, well, you can. I mean, the culture diminishes it, but I'm just saying, screw that. Just
Yeah.
be offended by that rather than offended by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always just tell my students for themselves, as Pilates teachers, who just being in the Pilates industry itself, just because of the viewpoint that Pilates has, if there's teachers that don't love their own bodies, they will compare themselves, to
Yeah.
other people. So I have this energy stick here that I wanted to show everyone, the fact that we are energy conductors, as you say. It's just, you may have seen this before. So you can see that the sound is off, but you can see that when I close the circuit, my energy is creating that circuit. And when I take it off and on and off, and if I was to touch somebody else with it, we would connect. And this is the most amazing visual point, what you're saying, that we literally are energy conductors and receivers.
Yes,
Receivers.
and we take up more space. Here, I'm going to really shock you and say that layer that we're in conflict with isn't the end of us. You know what I'm saying? It's actually, and the question is, how much space do we take up energetically around us, and are we able to be bigger, actually, in our being, in our presence, to take up some space on this planet? There's plenty of room for us. If you fly over it, most of it's empty. Whatever the folks who are trying to wipe us all out say, the planet is friggin' empty. There's lots of room. We just drove across thousands of miles of empty space in this country. And yeah, most of it's just empty. And so take up a little more space also with your energy that you just showed us there. And that's how we manage to feel each other at a distance. You know, I can feel you. Like we don't have to be so tiny that in our self-image that we can't take up any room even energetically, and we squash ourselves, and then we make ourselves sick and wonder why. You know, so spread out a little bit, folks.
Those of you that are here, if you can please put in the comments where you're at in the world, because Gil is in the middle of not in the middle, you're in the beginning of an 111 city tour from the United States and Canada, and we want to know where you are so that he can let you know maybe where the closest place is to see him, because getting back onto the nerve tour, which you're in your RV right now, Philadelphia.
I'm coming to Philly.
Do you know when?
Oh gosh, let me see. Yeah, I have not memorized my 111 city schedule, but it will be in 2024, probably in summertime actually, or late spring. I can tell you in a second. Let's see. Philadelphia. Phil, where are you, Philly? Come on, Philly. Philadelphia. Oh, I'm here. There we go. September 12th, 2024. I'll be in Philadelphia.
Okay. So it's almost about 10 months. 8th Sense Yoga. Oh, I love that name. 8th Sense
Mallorca, Spain. Darn, they always find one that I'm not going to.
And Australia.
Australia. Yes,
Australia.
People in the Netherlands, they're trying to get me to go there. People in Poland and England. And so Rachel and I will find a way. We will find a way to communicate this information to you one way or another. We're going to do our North American tour first. And while we do that, we will contemplate other points on the globe.
Awesome. Okay. So what motivates you? You've been doing this, 25 years or something?
30, actually.
Oh my goodness, 30 years. Okay. So
yeah, I'm 60. How about that?
Wow, 60. Okay. So okay, yeah. So you've been doing it 30 years. And so you were 30 when you started. And for doing this 30 years, what motivates you to keep going?
I am obsessed. I am compulsive. And I found something, like I can lose interest in things. I mean, I got a degree in ethics, not in anatomy. That first 30 years I spent doing something else. And so, and yet I did also realize that the ethical life is lived in a body. And if you want to say things about the moral, our way of being in the world, you darn well better get familiar with the human body, because to me, it teaches us a lot about, it's just reality. You're stuck with it. That's what it is. And you're not gonna, this is what we're doing here. We're living life on the planet as bodily and embodied creatures. And then the question becomes, okay, so what's your relationship to that fact? Are you at odds with it? Are you in acceptance of it? And what are the implications when we learn more about the body and then look back to the moral life and say, well, why are we making rules about this? This is just the nature of the human body. So I'm kind of offended when people try and shut down the nature of the human body for mental aspirations that actually convolute life rather than support it or enhance it. And so my study of ethics kind of moved me into the study of the body, and also because my study of ethics as a grad student was disembodied. It pulled me out, and I was like, wow, do we really have to be disembodied to have these considerations? What if we did it the other way? What if instead of going out, we went in? And so that's what I've been doing. I've been going in, and I mean in. I really going in and entering into like a personal relationship with the human body, with my human body, as a way to become conscious. Because how do you become conscious if you don't, like people are like, I want to see auras. I'm like, you haven't seen your hand. You haven't even Like you haven't looked at you haven't looked at it yet. You got to look at how do you open your eyes to what's in front of your face and actually see what's there rather than just the ideas, projections, and judgments that we carry with us from our, basically indoctrination into stories about them that are really not grounded in anatomy even. And so I've fallen in love with the body. It's the text that I like to read. I have read a lot of books. I mean, shelves and shelves and shelves of books. And I've given away literally thousands of books that I've read because you can't even store them or move them around anymore. And at this point, this is the book. This is the text. The textures of the human form are the text that I am delving into, reading like a diary, like one diary after another. I read these bodies and they tell me stories about human life, and it's very compelling.
To put this on do not disturb again. My phone just came off do not disturb. Do it until this evening. Okay, so those of you that are just joining, please put in the chat what city you're in. I mean, you can say wherever you are in the world, but Gil is in the beginning of his 111 tour, the Nerve Tour, and he's coming to a city near you in America, in the USA, in Canada. So if you just joined and you haven't put where you are in the world yet, just let us know, and he'll let you know where if he's coming close. So I'm in Las Vegas. You'll be here.
I'm coming to Vegas.
Yeah, I think it's December 12th. It's a Tuesday. I know that at 1 o'clock. And
that's right, December 12th.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Okay. Yeah. Do you know how many people? Are you getting people to sign up in Vegas? Do you know?
Folks are signing up in Vegas. Folks tend to jump in at the end, no matter how much I beg them to sign up in advance. Like, so let us know you want us there because I've booked a venue. So, yeah, we're in a stretch of very big talks at the moment. The Pacific Northwest has always been very kind and welcoming to me. So we have I just seen it's 164 people coming to Victoria. Talk tomorrow. We got 200 people coming to Portland signed up already. Nice. But then there are other cities where we have 2, 4, 3, and I'm thinking they're waiting. They're gonna come.
Yeah, and so and I'm obviously interested because being in Las Vegas, and I'm like 100% online. I can't wait to meet people that are your students. So that's going to be exciting. I've got my UNLV dance department letting them know.
Thank
and
you.
The Pilates, my mentor, Dolly Calipez, has a Pilates minor. You can actually get a minor in Pilates at UNLV.
Wow.
So we're letting them know, and I'm just super excited to. It's like a rock concert, like like that's how I see it.
We're doing it like a rock tour. We roll up on our bus. The roadies get out of the bus. That's Rachel and me. We hump the stuff in. We set it all up. We plug it in. I run back to the camper to eat an avocado, and then and some sardines, usually a little bit of hot sauce sardines and avocado. Then I run back in, talk for 5 hours, kiss, hug, squeeze, sign books, all that stuff. I've even signed T-shirts. People like, sign my girlfriend's T-shirt. I'm like, is she in it? No, it's just her. I'm like,
oh, that's awesome. Yes, I can't wait. It's so great. So we have somebody that said they are coming to Detroit.
Woo-hoo!
So they'll be in
Detroit too. Coming to Detroit. Detroit will be fun. I've driven through Detroit, and I was not in an American car. I felt nervous. I was in a Toyota, and we drove as fast as we could just to get out of there before they found out. No, I'll come in a Ford this time. I feel safe.
If you're just joining, put your city in the comments because we're trying to see where you are if Gil's coming close to you. So I was just watching last night. Okay, so let's talk about where people can find you if they're not familiar with your work. YouTube. You've got great stuff on YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah, really great stuff. So I was watching last night I'm a part of your, I think it's the Explorer membership.
Yes.
Where you get everything.
Yeah.
And
everything.
And you can get everything, and it's super, super reasonably priced. Like you're giving the stuff away.
That was the idea. If I could give it away, I'd give it away. But it actually costs money to do the stuff that I do. It costs a lot of money. So I do give a lot away. I have an Easy Writer membership on my website, and there's on my website you join the Easy Writer membership and access some of the other features, and you have 30 hours of free video content and about 30 hours of free audio content. So you can spend 60 hours, go through it twice, 120 hours, and not spend a penny on my site. Or you can join for $15 a month, my Explorer membership, or $150 a year. And then you get credit, actually. And I have about 300 hours of content up in there now, which can keep most people busy for a while. I mean, if you spent, a couple of years there, you'd get a serious education for a bargain. I mean, just when you think about what you spend on coffee in a year. So anyway, it's, really like
in a year, in one freaking Starbucks for me and my kids.
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, exactly. So for $15 a month, you can literally binge watch for a year, and then at the end of it, you'll be like, what did he say? I gotta watch it over again myself. I say so much things I can't remember them all.
And get credits. I think that's huge.
Yeah, Pilates.
For...
Pilates, yoga, massage, structural integration. Now we're adding like OTs and PTs, and so we're constantly ACE. We're continually adding organizations, thanks to my partner Rachel, who is a education design person. In addition to her own yoga empire, she's also an incredible organizer of educational material, and so she's is helping me get into more and more administrative organizations that will accept my programming for credit.
It's amazing. Okay, so we have Long Beach, California.
Long Beach. Well, I'm going to be in where on the coast is that? Because we're going to do 15 cities in California. I got to be coming close to Long Beach.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah,
Long Beach is like LA. It's not that far from Los Angeles.
We're going to be in LA, Santa Barbara, San Diego, San Luis Obispo, Monterey, San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, Sonoma, Nevada City, and sooner than that, we're going to be in Sacramento, Fresno, and Bakersfield. So on this northwestern loop, we're kind of cutting down through the central California, and then on our California loop in 2024, we'll loop back and hit all those other cities in California.
So I might come and see you in one of the California cities a second time.
Oh, awesome.
That would be super cool. Yeah, I went to school in San Luis Obispo.
Oh, cool.
I've got family there. My dad lives in Pismo Beach, which is
wonderful.
Not far from there. So that would be cool. So we're talking about right now is the Nerve Tour. So put in let's see, 8th Sense Yoga. Oh, she says I'm a yoga teacher, OT. Love to hear OT is a part of this. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Occupational therapist.
Occupational therapist.
Yeah. So so we were talking about your website. It's just gilhedley.com, where you have tons of $15 a month. It's a freaking steal for CECs, or $150 for the year.
Yeah, $150 for the year.
And I was watching last night. I will be a member for life. I was watching last night. I think it was Anne. It was a dissection with Anne, and it's your A to Z series.
Oh, Anna. Yeah,
Anna. Okay. And she has a uterus in the and the fallopian tube that you said that you pointed out went like all the way up into, you were showing the posterior internal, the back of the spine. So you've got all of the viscera taken away. And you showed that this fallopian tube was going all the way up. Do you remember that? Do you remember doing this? It was like crazy, and it just kind of showed the variation, the variable.
Yeah, I, in this instant, am not remembering that exact video. I edited 1,200 videos for the A to Z project, and so folks are often like, "Do you remember when you said?" I'm like,
No, yeah.
I wish I had an eidetic memory and could put myself right there, right then. Sometimes I can actually. It's scary sometimes, but yeah, there's a lot of detail on that kind of thing, and there's going to be more. We have a whole pelvic course that we're going to put out that you'll just love. Yeah, because I did other forums, and we just again we just jumped onto this project, and it kind of derailed some other things that we were doing. But it'll all get up there eventually. More content on the pelvis. I did a wonderful dissection actually of Captain's pelvis, the gentleman who was the subject of my nerve tour. But the nerve tour content doesn't focus on the pelvic dissection that I did on him, because the only way to see the nerves is to do really nice dissections of other stuff, and I never in my career have had a more clear internal vision of the deep pelvis than I do right now. It's quite a beautiful world, especially when you get the poop out of there. Then it's even more beautiful. I mean, from a dissection perspective, I got to get the poop out of there to show you anything. You know what I'm saying?
That's great. Yeah, it really is something that it really. Okay, so those of you that are joining, do you have like 15 more minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Because I want to make sure people that are joining, please put in where you are in the world, and we'll let you know in the USA or Canada if Gil is coming to you, because we're talking about his nerve tour where he's going to be presenting the nervous system in his anatomical dissection with Captain. You named him Captain, which is another reason I have to tell you what really struck me about your work was the level of respect that you give the forms.
Yeah, they're friends. You know what I'm saying? People give them bodies to you as a present, and you have to unwrap the gift. In other words, if someone gives you a present, you don't pull the bow on it. And then you are filled with appreciation, right? That's kind of the cycle of gift giving, right? That someone blesses you with something, and then you receive it. If you have to receive it, you have to open it. And then you find yourself in a state of appreciation. So that is my relationship to these gifts. And I happen to personally know the captain. Captain was a friend, and so there's sometimes it gets to that level where it's not only that I'm appreciating the gift that I've received, but I'm also knowing the person. So that gave me that gift. So it's amazing. It gets pretty personal and pretty deep. Colorado Springs, he's already been here. It's true. I live there actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just west of Colorado Springs in Cascade, Colorado, which is as obscure as you can get in the area. It's tiny. Cascade is literally like, don't sneeze or blink. Oh, you missed it.
In nature, you live in nature.
Yeah, up on a mountainside.
Amazing. So, okay, so let me look at my notes and make sure that I'm not missing anything, because I know there's so much I wanted to talk about. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit deeper about variations that you see in, let's just go with a woman's body, and those forms that you've dissected that have their uterus still. Let's see, hold on. QDPDO 409 says, giving my body to the anatomical lab.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Me too.
I'll volunteer as well if my family's okay with
they have to be okay with it.
Right.
The family's got to, because you can't you can say it, but you can't do it. Someone else has
Right.
got to do it for you. So ultimately, there needs to be cooperation with the families, and there always is.
Yeah. So, okay. So yeah. So
Yeah.
because we're pre and postnatal here,
Mhm.
what differences do you see in the women forms that you've dissected?
Oh, well, I mean, of course, bony shapes are very unique and interesting from one body to another. We do skeletonization in my 10-day classes, and then we get to put numerous, whole skeletons side by side and witness like how different a pelvis can be. Like we tend to think,
Yeah.
oh, a woman's pelvis is like kind of flared and a man's pelvis is a little more oriented this way. And actually, it's just a continuum. There's a tendency in that direction. You can get incredibly flared pelvises or more erect ones, or sometimes I've seen little old ladies with pelvises that you couldn't tell from a male pelvis. And yet a mom, what I'm saying. So it doesn't exclude those potentials. So bony morphology is a fascinating and difference to observe. And then there's organ position, right? So things are, we have this general set of organs, and then it's like, well, does my bowl of spaghetti look exactly like yours? No. The noodles are going different ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a meatball over here. I don't remember that meatball in that other bowl. So so you're going to see organ placement being different. Uh, Uterine shape even. And then, of course, there are pathologies, so there's going to be, bumps and squiggles that don't necessarily find from one body to another. Or one fascinating thing that I'm interested in is the position of the ovaries relative to other tissues. So they're not always in the same spot. Ovaries are kind of creeping around in the deep pelvis there, and they can be in a variety of positions. And the one that I tend to point out the most is when they're on top of the psoas, so people don't realize that, oh, you can be noodling around on a psoas, you're poking somebody in the ovary, which can be unfortunate. So you want to know, what's in there. And then of course the uterine shape and form itself can be positioned differently within the pelvis. It could be this way or that way or forward or back or stuck on something or twisted a bit. And that doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem.
Right.
You can have very many different uterine positions. Don't say, oh, well, your uterus is retroverted or laterally tipped or something. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I mean,
Yeah.
is it functioning? Yeah, in other words, it can be functioning just fine in a number of different positions. So I personally am fascinated by the variety of it all. And then bladder size. I mean, my gosh, some people can really hold it. Like when you get these little people like me and several grannies who have thimble-sized bladders, and you're like, wow, what's going on there? So I've literally poured a quart of water into a bladder. So.
Wow.
That wasn't even alive. So imagine what you could have put in there when they were alive, and it was more stretchy and flexible, right? So
Yeah.
there's great variety along those lines, or even things like the distance of the anus to the coccyx. Like how long is the anococcygeal ligament in a given form? Because that's a point of interesting variation as well, like
Right.
kind of the position of the openings relative to the bony opening. So that's something that's quite varied too. Oh, I could go on. How are the arteries and the veins positioned? Are they squiggly? Are they longer? Are they deeper? Are they squashed by something, or same thing with the nerves. So there's a lot going on in the pelvis. It's a busy place. There's a lot of structures. There's the nerve tree and the heart tree going around all of these beautiful organs. So
I think that's that is the number one thing that I think I want Pilates teachers or anybody who's watching to take away from your work, that when we're working the transverse abdominals, we're working everything else. And you make such a point of that. Like, we have these pictures where you see the muscles, okay? And yet we're not thinking about the fact that everything else is in there.
Yes, I have found that, actually, not to call out Pilates people too in a harsh way, but I have found that Pilates folks are actually kind of surprised that there are guts. Like there's yo, people, there's guts in there. It's not just a washboard abs on the cover of Pilates magazine. You know, that's actually a rare and unusual morphology to have. And you know, if you got it, flaunt it, whatever. You know, but you know, it's not typical
Right.
of a typical example, you know, of the human body. And when you're so core oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't realize that there's a visceral core, not just a musculoskeletal core. Like you're doing stuff to your viscera. I mean, you can overdevelop your muscular core in a way that actually creates limitations on your visceral functioning, limitations on birth, actually. Yeah. I mean, you can kind of get a little overtoned in there to the point where stuff can't get out, like, you know, and there's how do you enter into a friendly relationship with your guts as a Pilates person and not an antagonistic one is, I think, something to explore. And frankly, just seeing them, witnessing the additional structures, I think, is a great way to do that. In other words, just like, oh, that's there. Oh gosh, that's kind of cool. That's interesting. How wonderful. That's actually there to my advantage, right? That's doing me good all day long. And I want to know more about that, you know, and how can I support that? How can I give a little space for that, actually? How can I, you know, allow that to breathe? You know, I mean, rectus abdominis can be like a set of dumbbells on your rib cage, you know, pulling down when you're supposed to be breathing. You know, it's so we need to be accommodating to the movements of breath, the movements of the viscera, and you know, kind of beyond that, maybe more harsh version of the body that's just like muscle and bone, hard as can be.
Right.
Oops, my phone. There we go.
Okay, so we'll wrap this up so you can get on with your day. Okay, so if you just joined, though, make sure put your city in there. If you're watching the replay, put your city in the comments. USA, Canada, 111 cities. You're on, you said about the 12th one. You're coming to Las Vegas, December 12th, and Gil's going to be with the Nerve Tour. He said pretty much anywhere you are, USA, Canada, he'll be close to you. So if you can't, well, even if you can, please go check out Gil's YouTube channel or gilhedley.com, where you can see all kinds of free stuff. And yes, please do yourself a favor. If you are teaching any kind of anatomy, if you're just teaching you know, any kind of exercise, you've got to see the real thing.
Thank you. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm like Doubting Thomas, you know, I got to lay eyes on it. I got to stick my hands in there. I got to give it a squeeze, have a look, and then I can incorporate it into my consciousness and into my heart space as well.
I love it. I love it. You have so much goodness, and I'm always inspired by you and your humility to your work. One thing you do have that I want to point out with your monthly membership at $15 is you do a live with Gil. It's like about once a month on a Sunday.
Yep, that's right. Once a month.
You have amazing people. I'm always on there, and I was on yesterday.
Oh,
I was on with Stu Hitzman, and you know, if you guys know these big names like the role model?
Yeah, Jill Miller.
Method. That's Jill.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sue,
role model is Jill.
Sue is the melt method.
Melt method. They are students of Gil. So you gotta get to know Gil's stuff, and I'm so grateful for you. I can't wait to meet you. And fangirl here.
Woo-hoo!
And and I just wanna say thank you. Let's see, Movimiento Atlas, Spain. She said she's in Spain, and or he. Hello, Gil. I love your work. So
Thank you.
hello, and okay. So get on with your. Oh, one more thing I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you. Personal question: Is you keep saying Rachel is your partner? Like,
Partner
is
in
she your
all things.
life partner? Okay. Yeah, I mean, it took me a while. I'm like, it's got to be like a, like a significant other partner.
Yeah, we are significant others, and we also work together, and we live
Amazing.
together in a little cabinet here with wheels on it. So,
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. Go see him,
you.
Gil Hedley, gilhedley.com, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
I can't wait.
Okay, bye everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Bye.